Have you read Restart yet? I've been talking about it for months, and I hope that you have read it aloud to your class by now. And if you haven't, there's still time in the school year to get it in. There's a sentence in here, and I wasn't able to find it. I'll make sure to mark it next year when I read it aloud. But there's a stunt that the boys are playing, and the comment is made, people thought that I needed to see a mental health professional. And as soon as I said that, I could see Walter started whispering to the student next to him, and that was unusual. Walter during Read Aloud is zeroed in on me, just focused intently. And so I knew I needed to take a moment and stop and see what this was all about. And so I said, Walter, is everything okay? And his classmate said, he wants to know what a mental health professional is. I hadn't considered the possibility that my students didn't know that term. And I said, well, I'm so glad that you asked, because a mental health professional is very important, and there are people like therapists and counselors who help us when we need help. And one of my students raised his hand and blurted out, I see one of those. And I turned right to him and I said, so do I. Isn't it wonderful? And he said, yes, it is. And then it happened so quickly. I don't know the exact number, but it was about 5 little hands that went up to indicate that they are either currently or have at some point seen a counselor or a therapist. And so I took time right then and I said, you know, I see a therapist, Mr. Matsuda, and I together see a therapist. And this is something that is important and good and something that you can continue throughout your life anytime you need that extra help. When I told the story at home, my son-in-law said, Deneen, do you realize you have just normalized mental health for your entire class? And I really hadn't realized that. I was only trying to validate those who raised their hands. But hopefully I have planted seeds that this is good for all of those students, and you know, those ripples can go on and on. On the way home that day, I was telling Stanley this story, and when I told him, he said, you know, I told him how many students had raised their hands, and he said, well, that's not good. And I thought in my brain, what are you talking about, Stanley? You're so pro mental health. So I said, what are you talking about? And he said, well, we all have medical health professionals. We all need mental health professionals. Wonderful, Stanley, you're absolutely right. You know, shouldn't we all have someone to help us along the way? Our students, well, you know, a lot of them are hurting. In the fall, we had a teacher in-service day, and there were many breakout sessions for which to choose. And one of the ones I chose was called How to Talk to Young People. And you know, it was short, just like these little 15-minute breakouts. But I was so excited to learn some new ways to talk to children and young people. And our speaker was so good. I wish that I could have him come and present to our little family here, because I learned so much. But I'll never forget the opening sentence. It was very simple. This is how he started. He said, our kids are in trauma. And I've played that in my brain many times, and it's true. We know it's true. We see it. Variety of trauma, family stresses, traumas. Some of our students have experienced deaths through this pandemic, and deaths that have even nothing to do with the pandemic. Our kids are in trauma, and my guess would be that many of us are as well. So, you know, do you have a mental health professional? When, you know, I just lost my medical doctor. She moved away to Texas, and I'm not waiting until I get sick to seek out help. I'm trying to find someone with whom I can establish myself so that when I'm sick, I already have that in place. And I thought, how prudent would it be for us to do that with our mental health professionals? Find someone when things are going well, so that when things are not going well, we have that support in place already. Many of you are nearing upon spring vacation, and I am telling you, reminding you You know, many of us don't have mothers anymore to remind us of this. So I'm reminding you, take extra care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Don't slam yourself with so much extra work that you don't take a break. For wonderful Stanley and I, that's going to look like extra time together, gardening together, watching our comedians and laughing together. These are all ways that we are able to refresh our souls together. But I hope that you know what you need to do during this time, and not just wait till breaks, but to have time every week for mental health, because we must make mental health a priority.